Hello, it is Diane with Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies.com, and I wanted to share a neat way of making multiple cards really fast and that look really great. One of the ladies in my stamp group, my local stamp group, got the Stampin' Cut and Embossing folder Thoughtful Moments, the hybrid, and also the Thoughtful Moments dies that match it and go with it. And she wanted to learn how to use them because she had never used a brayer before, and she wanted to learn how to do that because it came with that as a bundle. And so we thought we would come up with a way of making multiple cards that you could give away with like some sayings, and then the people could put on the sayings that they want to give away for what occasion that they have. And so that's what I kind of designed it for. Another way of doing that, if you don't have those, you can get the word packs from the catalog and the online exclusives and stuff, and send these with some cards, and people could make up their own card kits for that. So anyway, I found Georgia Lane had shared how to make some multiples, and so in my class I showed her crisscross card, and that's what I want to show today. But I also found this box that Sam, what is her name? Get that paper out here. Sam Hammond Donald had shared. It's a no glue folding box, and it just folds up and tucks right in. And I'm also going to show how to do that. And all of my dimensions and things will be over on my blog at Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies.com, and you can go over there to find all of those measurements. And I'm just kind of gonna go through and show the mechanics of how to get the look. But this was one of the sets. So when you just use the hybrid embossing folder and the dies with metallic foil papers, you don't even have to do any kind of and you don't, if you're using color cardstock either, you don't have to use the brayer and ink up the folder. I'm going to show how to do the inking up the folder though, but it looks really pretty with these metallics. The same with the gold. They just pop and make it look really cool. And I am using a lot of my old designer series papers and stuff. I'm trying to clean up my stash. The set that I'm going to show for this demonstration is this card, and for it I will show how to ink the embossing folder so that when you cut those, it'll ink around the words or the letters as well. And I am using some retired stuff and some new stuff for this one. Let me put that off to the side. So the things that you will need, I can grab my stack over here. So the card bases that you're going to want to have for this card is 4 1/4 by 11. You'll score it at 5 1/2 and fold them in half this direction. This is how you're going to get the crisscross. I apologize, I've been sick, but my voice is starting to finally come back. So the box will hold 6 cards and envelopes. It'll hold 4 better, but 6 it will do. And so I did a grouping of 6 card bases. And then I have the white inserts for the inside, and I did those at 5 1/4 by 4, just the basic white. And then on the front for these crisscross pieces, you only need 3 of the things that you want on the front. Now, the thing to be careful about is if you want to use a directional paper, you'll need to make sure that you cut it the direction that it's going to look on the page or on the card front in this direction. Now, if you cut this one and you could use the other side of it. So if you wanted to go ahead and use the back side of this, you could use this, just flip it over, because that's what you're doing with this piece, is flipping it over, and you could use the back side. But you wouldn't be able to turn around and use this, the other half on the front, because it's going to be cut differently. So if you want this, you want a different one, the piece that you'll cut for the front, and you only need 3 of these, it's 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm sorry I didn't say those, 5 1/4 by 4. I wanted to have an embossed side over here, and so you only need 3 of each to make 6 cards. The one key is, if you're going to have a directional paper or whichever side you want on this side, you have to cut it from, looking at it in landscape, top left to bottom right. And then this part, if you'll want to cut it before you emboss it, because it's harder to cut once it's embossed, but you'll cut this one on the whatever paper you want on this side, you'll need to cut it from top right to bottom left looking at it, and then it would fit on here. And then just to go ahead and get through what all we need, I used the Nested Essentials dies, and the 2nd and 3rd sizes I cut from scrap white and scrap old olive. So this is old olive and this is mossy meadow. I cut the labels for the top that we're going to be using. You could use Very Vanilla on here too, because it does go. And then from a new set that I got, the Nature Symphony and the dies that match it, I cut out these leaves from the dies to put in the back behind the label, and then I pulled out and used some other ribbon that I had on hand. Now the stamps that I used for this are from some of my old paper pumpkins, and that's what I'm using for that. And then again, for the words to get put on the front, I am using the Thoughtful Moments hybrid folder and die, and you'll need a 6x6 white or whatever color cardstock to do that. So let me show you basically what we're doing. So on the card base, to get the crisscross on the front, you'll just take your trimmer, and once you know where that score line is, you're going to go from the top of that score line, you line that up in your track, and go down to the bottom right. This is looking at it in landscape. So top left to bottom right. If you want to avoid crushing the corners, you can always start with your blade in the middle and go up and down, and then you'll end up with this part as the cutoff. Now to do the crisscross, you're going to just take and flip this piece over and put it on this side. But you're going to want to decorate this and everything before you put it together. And then when you do put it together, you're going to want to make sure that you only put glue where this piece is. So let me, the other thing you'll need to do is, like I was talking about in the beginning, is to make sure that you cut the pieces, the layers that you're going to be doing in the same direction. So if there's kind of a direction or you like a certain direction, you want to make sure that it's up facing this way. And the one that goes on the left side, you're going to go from the top left to the bottom right. And again, to avoid crushing those corners, you could start with your blade in the middle go up and down. And then that does 2 cards. And then again, I'm going to do top left, bottom right. This is just to kind of give you an idea of how quickly these cards can come together. And then you'll go ahead and cut the cardstock. Now cardstock, it doesn't matter as far as which side, but it will matter which direction that you cut it so that it'll go on here. So the one on the right side, you're going to want to start with the right top corner and cut down to the bottom left corner. And then you'll get the ones that go that direction. And do that again. And it's real easy to line these up in the track to do that. Now, the folder that I used was one of my old Layered Leaves 3D embossing folder. And I could actually I just took the 2 pieces, and I can't get them apart. And I was able to line it up inside so that it would go this way. Now this one was a really super duper 3D embossing folder, and so when I did the sandwich for it, I just used the base plate 1, this folder. Now remember to put the spine through first. The top of the folder is the one that has the logo, and then you'll use just a clear plate 3 and run it through, and you'll get your embossed pieces. I went ahead and did that earlier so that I could just have those done. Excuse me. And so I have those already done. And then the other thing that I needed to show to do for this is this here. Now I have an old brayer that I have had for a very, very long time. Oh, and I forgot one of my inks. Just a moment. I wanted to use the Merrily, which is a retired one, but it went with this paper. Just whatever you want to use. Now, it's a good thing when you're inking embossing folders that you go ahead and make sure that you get your stuff out of the way, because it can get ink everywhere. And then you'll definitely want to use a grid paper underneath, and you'll want to have kind of a wash station that's available so that you can wash off the folder, the die, and the brayer, because you're going to have ink everywhere. There is a new brayer that they have that has a wire handle, and then it has 2 little feet, and you set it up on the feet. This one's one of the old ones, and so you just turn it over and set it on the back side. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of go over a little bit of the tips on doing the brayer. Is you want to make sure when you're inking it up, you don't just go roll back and forth, because you won't get the whole surface of the roller. So you'll want to, I'm hoping that you could see. So you want to make sure that you just you pick up and come back and get that ink all on there. And then you'll want to roll that on. You can do it backwards and start at the top. And you just want to make sure that you're getting that ink on all of those words. And that's why I said you got to have that grid paper, so if you go off, you don't get on your table or your desk. And then once that's done, this die fits really well in here. It kind of just clicks or whatever into place. And then you'll lay your 6x6 cardstock on there. And then you'll run this through the embossing machine. Stamp and cut and emboss. You'll use the base plate, the folder and the die, and then the number 4, the gray plate, and that will cut those all out so that you will have all of those words like this, and they just pop right out. It doesn't take much to get them all out, and you have several different sayings that you can choose from to put on the front of the card. So let me go ahead and move those off and close this ink, just because I don't want to get it everywhere, and I'm going to move that off. And then I will bring in Stampin' Pierce mat, just so I can have something under where I'm stamping. And then on the inside, I'm just going to show one. What I did was use a pretty branch from one of my paper pumpkins that I had, and Flirty Flamingo, and then there was another decorative piece that I'm going to do in Mossy Meadow. The Merry Merlot is for the words, and then on the front I did another leaf that was from a paper pumpkin that I had. And this is just trying to show to use what you have so that you can, you know, utilize the things that you want. You could also, oh, there was another stamp that I meant to, it's in here. I forgot to put it on a block, but it's the Out of the Nature Symphony. It's this kind of a, I don't know what to call it. It's a little texture. So let me, I'm just going to stick it on that one for right now. I just forgot to get it out. And so you could use petal pink or whatever coordinates with your stuff that you have. But it's always neat to give some dimension to your words if you put down something first, kind of a background, and then when you stamp your words, they just kind of pop. It gives a little bit of something behind it. And this says, "You mean the world to me." And then I'll take the Flirty Flamingo. And then on this one, I wanted to just kind of give it a 2-step stamp so that there's, and you could even do 3. And it just gives kind of the different look there for that. And then across the bottom, I'm going to add this other little stamp. And the one thing that I keep reminding people that come to my classes is nobody knows what the example was that you were starting with. So they don't have a clue what it was supposed to look like. And they just think it's a really cool card, and they love that somebody is thinking about them. And then on the front for, oh, I should have left the Mossy Meadow out. I just took one of the labels and this other leaf. And again, I just kind of did that 2-step stamping. And that just kind of gives something to go behind the words. So I'm going to move these off to the side here. so that I could show you about putting the card together. And of course, that's the one thing I forgot to bring over. Runner. So let me pull out this one. And then once you have all of the things stamped and done, it's really simple to just go ahead and put the cards together. That's the one thing I don't like about the Stampin' Sew Plus that I find is, unfortunately, once you've embossed, especially a 3D embossing, it tends to tear. So you might want to use liquid glue or tear-in tape to put your pieces together. I'm awful with white glue. It gets everywhere. And every time that I try to do the precision tip ones, it always gets clogged and I can never get it to come out and I just get frustrated. So to me, I generally use the tear-in tape if I can't use the Seal Plus. I like the Seal Plus better because it just tears better for me when I'm putting it on the cards. And then if I accidentally go over, it really easily folds over to so that I can get it out to the back side. And I'm just using the Take Your Pick tool to help me get those backings off. And then I usually try to hold it up until I get kind of the 2-3 sides with a border that I want. And then I'll lay it down. And then the piece for this side, I'll just run some tape. Oh, now it's tearing there. It is very good sticky tape. And then again, try to hold it up till I get the borders. Kind of look these three, and then I'll know that it'll pretty much come where it needs to there. And then I'm going to glue the one on the inside. I'm sure a lot of people don't use as much tape as I do. I just don't want it to come apart. I've just gotten into the habit of doing that. Okay, so you'll lay this down so that it lines up with this corner. And then I just kind of note where that halfway mark is or whatever. And I just kind of put some glue from there down. And then when I fold it back over and glue that down, then this part is there. And then you just add your stuff on the top. And I'm going to pop this up on with dimensionals. But you're going to want to make sure that you don't put it where that V overhangs so it won't keep it closed. So you just want to put on the bottom. And then I just want to do right above that so that it doesn't go up too high and get off. And then the die cuts had those. Oh, there they are. I just use glue dots and then put it strategically in behind some of the leaves. you don't have to do it behind every leaf. And I really liked the texture that's created with this dye for these leaves, because you can even see the leaf pattern in it. Okay. And then so I just wanted it to kind of go over here, but you don't really want it to go outside of the card, above and below, to the side. But I wanted it to be kind of peeking around. And then I'll remove the backings from here. And then I just kind of eyeball this on the front. And then you have that. You can add any other embellishments, the ribbon, gems, or whatever you want to this. But I did want to go ahead and get the stuff out so I could show you how to do the box. And then you could always rewind if you needed some tips about any of the rest of that. So let me get this stuff out of my way here. Now, the one that Sam Hubbard or Holland or whatever, oh, gosh, what is her name? Sam Hammond Donald. The one that she had created, it wouldn't fit the cards that I wanted. So I had to resize it. And so I started out with an 8-inch by 12-inch cardstock. I tried to make it with an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and it just wouldn't work. So I had to use a 12 by 12 and cut 8 by 12. And then you're going to score it in landscape at 1, 2, 6.5, and 7.5. And then you're going to turn it, and you're going to score it at 1 and 7. And again, these measurements and dimensions will be on my blog. Now, the other thing that you will do, and I used my Stampin' Pierce mat and my bone folder and a ruler, and I went from these corners. So this is the bottom part of the box. It's the main part where the cards are going to sit. This is the top over on this side. So into the bottom, you're going to want all of your diagonal score lines to go in here. Oh, I forgot. This outer corner, you're going to go ahead and cut off. And then you can use a corner rounder to round the edges on that. But you will do a diagonal, and it's coming into this bottom of the box. So this direction, and then this direction, and this direction. And then you're going to want to make sure that you fold and burnish real well all of your score lines everywhere. And then when it comes, and you'll also kind of want to bend these a little bit, kind of that way. But as you fold it, these two sides fold into the top of the box. This piece will kind of twist and come out. Hope that you could see that. And then this part over here on this side is going to fold in. And then as you fold this, so this part here folds up. You have your cards inside. This folds in. And then this flap, this outside flap, tucks in where those two pieces are folded over. And so you don't have to have any glue whatsoever, and you just fold it up together. And you have to burnish really well. And then when you have your cards in there, it will stay. I also cut the mats for this, the card front, or the front of it, so that you could decorate the front. And I do have these measurements over there as well. So the main layer is 4 1/4 by 5 3/4, and then 4 by 5 1/2. And then this is for the stamped layer. It's 3 1/4 by 3, and then 3 by 2 3/4. And then you could stamp on this to kind of match what your cards are and decorate the box. And so, let me bring over one that I did for one of my other sets. And so it just makes it really pretty, and you could put all your cards in here and give them away as a gift. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this, and please visit my blogs to get the dimensions for everything. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I hope that you'll consider shopping with me through Stampin' Up! I do get rewards for that, and I appreciate anybody that does order from me. And if you do like my videos, if you'll subscribe to my channel, then it helps me to grow. But then if you click the bell icon, it'll let you know the next time that I upload a video. And I try to do this about once a month is what I've been trying to get back to. A couple of years ago I had a major health event, and so the last 2 years have been kind of spotty because I've been healing, and then we replaced our home, so we were busy tearing down the old one and putting the new one up, or getting the new mobile home in and getting the house set up and everything. So it's been busy. I appreciate your time and sharing your love of crafting with me, and I hope that you will come back. Again, my blog is at www.dianesblueheartsandbutterflies.com, and I hope to see you soon.